Paris. Just the name conjures up images, doesn't it? Cobblestone streets, cozy cafes, lovers strolling by the Seine. It's a city that gets under your skin. I remember my first time in Paris like it was yesterday. Fresh off the plane, a bit jet-lagged, but I dropped my bags and hit the streets. That first whiff of baking bread, the sound of accordions, the sight of the Eiffel Tower piercing the sky, I was hooked. Paris is a feast for the senses. The taste of buttery croissants, the smell of freshly cut flowers, the feel of old books in the Latin Quarter. It's a city that seduces you slowly, then all at once. So, come on, let's take a walk back in time, explore the heart and soul of this incredible city. Trust me, by the end, you'll understand why Paris is, and always will be, the city of love. Our story begins over 2,000 years ago. Forget the grand boulevards and glittering lights. Back then, Paris was just a humble fishing village on a little island in the Seine. They called it Lutetia, and it was the heartland of a tribe called the Parisii. These Celtic folks were tough, resourceful. They knew how to handle themselves. But then, along came those Romans, conquering everything in sight. By 52 BC, Lutetia was theirs. The Romans, they were all about order, structure. They laid out streets, built temples, even threw in a public bathhouse for good measure. The city, now called Paris, started taking shape, but it was still a far cry from the Paris we know today. It was just laying the groundwork, setting the stage for the grand drama that was to unfold over the centuries. Fast forward a few centuries, and Paris was booming. It became the capital of the Frankish kingdom, with rulers like Clovis and Charlemagne at the helm. These guys, they weren't messing around. They built grand palaces, churches, and turned Paris into a major center of power. The Middle Ages saw the rise of Notre-Dame Cathedral, a masterpiece of Gothic architecture. Universities sprouted up, attracting scholars from far and wide. Paris was becoming a hub of knowledge, faith, and culture. And let's not forget the food. This was the era when Parisian cuisine started to take shape. Rich sauces, delicate pastries, and fine wines. The good life, as they say. Paris was already becoming synonymous with good taste, sophistication. But hold on tight, because things were about to get really interesting. The 18th century, a time of powdered wigs, extravagant balls, and simmering discontent. The French Revolution, my friends, was brewing. And where else would it erupt but in the heart of Paris? The storming of the Bastille, the reign of terror, the rise and fall of Napoleon, Paris was at the center of it all. Blood flowed in the streets, heads rolled, and the old order was shattered. Napoleon, that ambitious little corporal, he crowned himself emperor and set about conquering Europe. And Paris? It became the glittering capital of his short-lived empire. It was a time of upheaval, of chaos and change. But through it all, Paris endured. And from the ashes of revolution, a new city emerged, stronger, bolder, and ready to take on the world. Section 5. Paris, cradle of art and ideas. The 19th century. Paris was buzzing. Art, literature, music, it was exploding with creativity. Think Monet, Renoir, Manet, the Impressionists, painting light and capturing fleeting moments. Their canvases, bold and vibrant, reflected the energy of the city itself. Writers like Victor Hugo, with his epic Les Miserables, and Alexandre Dumas, with his swashbuckling The Three Musketeers, were spinning tales that captured the imagination of the world. Paris was the literary capital, where ideas were debated in smoky cafes and revolutions were plotted over glasses of absinthe. And let's not forget the music. Chopin's melancholic melodies, Debussy's shimmering harmonies. Paris was alive with the sound of music. It was a time when the city pulsed with a raw, creative energy that was simply intoxicating. Section 6. The City of Love endures through war. The 20th century dawned, and with it came new challenges. 2 world wars cast a long shadow over Paris. The first saw German troops marching down the Champs-Élysées, while the second brought occupation and resistance. But even in the darkest of times, the spirit of Paris endured. The city of light, though dimmed, never went out. Stories of courage, resilience, and defiance emerged from the shadows. The liberation of Paris in 1944 was a joyous occasion. American GIs were greeted with cheers, kisses, and endless bottles of wine. The city, battered but unbroken, was ready to rebuild and reclaim its place as a beacon of hope and freedom. Section 7. Rebirth and Reinvention in the 20th Century. After the war, Paris dusted itself off and got back to work. It was a time of rebirth, of reinvention. New architectural marvels like the Pompidou Center, with its inside-out design, challenged conventions and pushed boundaries. Fashion, always a Parisian obsession, reached new heights of creativity. Designers like Coco Chanel, Christian Dior, and Yves Saint Laurent dressed the world in elegance and style. Paris was once again the epicenter of fashion, dictating trends and setting hearts aflutter. The city also became a haven for artists and intellectuals from around the world. Think Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir, the existentialist power couple, debating philosophy in cafes on the left bank. Paris was a melting pot of ideas, a place where anything seemed possible. Section 8. Hidden Gems and Quirky Charms. Now everyone knows the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe. But Paris, my friends, is a city of secrets. It's in the little things, the hidden gems, that you truly discover its soul. Tucked away in quiet corners, you'll find charming little bookstores, overflowing with dusty tomes. Slip into a neighborhood bistro, where the owner greets you with a smile and a knowing nod. Get lost in the labyrinthine streets of Montmartre, where artists still hawk their wares. And then there are the quirks. The whimsical Wallace fountains, spewing out free drinking water. The lovelocks on the Pont des Arts, a testament to enduring romance. The green metal boxes, ubiquitous throughout the city, that house those delicious baguettes. Paris is a city that surprises and delights at every turn. Section 9. Paris, an eternal city in the modern world. Paris today is a city that embraces its past while looking towards the future. It's a global city, a melting pot of cultures, a hub of innovation and creativity. But through it all, it has retained that certain je ne sais quoi that makes it so unique, so utterly Parisian. Walk along the Seine at night, the lights of the city shimmering on the water, and you can almost feel the ghosts of history whispering in the breeze. The spirit of the revolution, the passion of the artists, the resilience of a city that has seen it all. It's all there, woven into the very fabric of Paris. So come experience it for yourself. Get lost in its streets, savor its flavors, breathe in its atmosphere. Because Paris, my friends, is more than just a city. It's an experience, a state of mind, a love affair that, once started, never truly ends.